Sometimes you feel so alone and overwhelmed you don't know where to turn. These days, it seems like there is no end to our problems. We invite you to connect with Silent Unity, the 24-hour prayer ministry where someone is waiting to pray with you right now. Since 1890, Silent Unity has always been there. No judgment or dogma, just someone affirming the best for you. Call 816-969-2000 today. You can also connect online at unityprayervigil.org.
Practical spirituality. Positive messages. This is Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Learn the language of spirit. This is The Intuitive Life with Laura Wooster.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to The Intuitive Life, where we walk together and support each other on the path to becoming more spiritually aware, enlightened, and inspired. My name is Laura Wooster, and we will be taking your calls today. That's 816-251-3555. Again, it's 816-251-3555. And it could be for questions about the topic today or anything related to anything that I talk about on the show is fine. Or if you would like a reading as well, intuitive, mediumship, or otherwise, just give me a call. So just a couple of calendar notes before I go on to the subject of today. July 10th, Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, I will be offering an online demonstration of mediumship called Where Two Worlds Meet. I'll be a part of, it's a benefit for it's a fundraising benefit for the historic Hydesville Schoolhouse Restoration Project in Hydesville, New York. So, and that's presented by the Journey Within Church. So you can go to my website for more information on that, and it'll be myself, Reverend Janet O'Havitt, and Rita Berkowitz, and Reverend Laurie Sheridan. 4 reverends working together, 4 mediums. And one of them, Rita Berkowitz, she's not only a medium, but she's a spirit artist. So as she brings people through from the spirit side and brings your people through, she'll actually draw them, and you can actually see them emerge from her sketch pad as she about your loved ones in spirit. So it's really fun to watch, and it's just very touching to actually see loved ones be recognized as their picture emerges from her paper. So if you have any interest in that at all, it's online, so it's easy to get to. You don't have to get in your car or anything. You can just learn more about that on my website at laurawooster.com, and that's July 10th online, and the link is on the first page of my website. Also, if you're in the New England area, we're starting to do in-person events. I'm so excited. So beginning this fall, actually in August, beginning in-person events. The next one coming up is in August, and that is what I've done is for the past few years I've hosted an event called Spiritual Cafe, which is a discussion group, and it was in my office, so it was more for local people. But then when COVID hit, I took it online so that people were able to gather online and talk about things that they normally can't talk about with anybody else. Sometimes when we're opening up spiritually or becoming more aware or we're searching for more, a lot of times the people around us aren't on that same path. So it's helpful to find a community that they understand where you're coming from. They don't mind talking about the unusual topics that may start to draw your attention more. So that's why I started Spiritual Cafe, and that's been a few years, and I put it online. But then I decided to take the next step here because everybody wants to be in person to see things. So now that restrictions are lightening up around the world here in some places, especially here in New England. So what I'm offering, if you're in the New England area in August, a thing called Spiritual Cafe Live. Live, like in person, like actually seeing people like sitting in the same room with each other. And that's going to happen in Methuen at Circles of Wisdom, and that is August 19th. And again, it's called Spiritual Cafe Live. And this particular, every month that I do this, it's going to be a different topic, and I'll have a different guest. And so the one on August 19th, at 7 p.m. in Massachusetts. It's going to be Spiritualize Your Life, Awakening to Soul Level Living. So what this is going to be is myself and my friend and colleague, Ellen Bed, who's an intuitive energy healer. And we're going to talk about, sort of an outline of what's next. If you're spiritually waking up, if you're searching for something more, we're going to give you some guidelines and some tips and some steps and to follow. And a lot of times it's uncharted territory for people, and they just don't know what the next step is. So we'll be offering that, and we'll also be the last portion of the evening. We'll be offering energy readings for people. So that should be really fun. I'm looking forward to sitting with people in person and working with my dear friend and colleague Ellen Bent. But you can learn more of that on my website. I don't think the link is on my website just yet, but it'll be there soon. So the topic today, because I know last month I talked about some tips to lead a more intuitive life, because I got to tell you that, when I started paying attention to my intuition more, I've always been intuitive, but when I started paying attention to my intuition more, my life started to get better. It's sort of like turning the volume up on your life and living a better life, and being more in tune and recognizing what's for your own good, the highest best of everybody else, and things just kind of flow better. It's just, when you're tuned into that, anybody who has walked that path of really paying attention to their own gut feelings and intuition, they'll tell you, it's like, yeah, life got better. It doesn't mean life is not going to be difficult at times. It doesn't take away the pain of life and the things that we naturally go through as human beings, but it's living a fuller life, in a life of more depth, more connection, understanding, and compassion, not only for yourself, for other people. There's a lot that follows under that umbrella of living an intuitive life. And so I'm a big advocate of it. I'm always trying to teach that in my classes, and of course on this radio program, The Intuitive Life. So last month I shared a few tips, and if you want to go back in the archives, you can definitely find that particular episode into more in depth with it. But just a quick review of what I spoke about last month about that was, just recognizing the physical response you have to energy, gut feelings or a decision you might make. What is your gut telling you, and just listen to that and trust that your body, your intuition knows a whole lot more than possibly we know in our own brain. Our body is able to interpret information and energy that we don't necessarily recognize right away, and it'll tell us something. So that's one of the first tips I gave last month, was recognizing your physical response to energy, to people, to decisions, thoughts, anything like that. And again, another thing that I had recommended was using your voice, because when you use your voice, or learning how to communicate, or actually communicating through words, or actually speaking, it sharpens up your clairaudience, which is what you hear in your own mind's voice. So it sharpens it up and clears it up, and it's one of the your psychic senses. So it actually can help you to understand what that is. And so the other thing too is living a lifestyle. It really is, an intuitive life is living a lifestyle of being aware, essentially, of being aware of your own biases, your own healing work that needs to be done, anything that can cloud your perception of communication with people, how you see your life, how you see yourself, anything like that. The more work that you can do to clear that up, the clearer your intuitive information will be. Now, this has just been, for me, it's always been an ongoing thing, and I get better and better at it. So it's recognizing your own stuff is a huge thing. And that's one of the reasons why I recommended the 4 agreements last month. It's a really great guidebook to start that process if you want to do that more, and to really understand what clear intuitive information is if you can get your own stuff out of the way, your own negative talk, the programming that was instilled upon you as you grew up, what society has instilled upon you, and trusting what's really true for you. So those are the 4 things that I mentioned. But I wanted to give you some more this month, because that you have to implement every single one of these things in order to live a more intuitive life. But if you can take aspects of it and maybe, slowly start integrating some of these things in, even just one thing can really start to shift things for you. So, and some of these may seem oversimplistic, but it's more of a validation, that these things actually work, because I've found that this works for me as well. So, one of the things that I find really opens up your psychic abilities and your intuitive awareness is actually reading books about psychic abilities and intuitive awareness. And it's not just because of the wisdom or the knowledge that you impart from reading this information. It does something to your energy field. It starts to open you up psychically. And I've seen this in classes, and I often will chat. We won't go right into exercises and practice and everything when I run my development classes. We actually talk about intuition and psychic abilities and mediumship. And just talking about it sort of charges your aura, charges your energy, and sets you on that frequency to be open to that information. So reading books by mediums or psychics and what their experiences are and how they describe what they experience, either intuitively or with the spirit world, actually listening, or even audiobooks too, listening to audiobooks of people who do this work. Also, what the authors I would include in that is a good guideline would be, and I found this to be true, at least for me, if you see any of the authors that like and Super Soul Sunday, like a lot of those authors that she has on, fabulous books, not always on intuition, but often there's an element of a theme of intuition that runs through the teachings of the people that she's had as guests on her show. So I would follow through and just she had on her as a guest and pick up some of those books. A lot of these people are really tuned into their own intuition and their own sense of connection to the greater consciousness. And by reading those books, it'll expand your awareness as well, not only just knowledge-wise, but energetically and frequency-wise. The other thing too that I find is very helpful, and a lot of people who will talk about this, who very mindful people will talk about practicing the pause. If you're invited to something, or someone asks you to do something, or it could be anything, and oftentimes our first inclination might be to say, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah, that sounds great," and then just go for it, and then you realize later something doesn't feel right, or doesn't feel like it's the right time, or whatever. You just say yes. Practice the pause for everything. Get comfortable telling people, "Yeah, can I get back to you on that?" And then respond when you feel comfortable to do so. And it's not to control the situation or anything. It's more to really trust what you're feeling and to really feel what you feel about that decision you're going to make, to agree to something. And you may not know why you feel a certain way about saying no or even yes to an opportunity that comes up, or a favor that someone might ask of you, or whatever that might be, whatever situation might be. You might not understand why you're feeling the way you do. I wouldn't judge it, but just say, this doesn't feel like the right fit for me right now, or I'm sorry, but I can't take this on at this moment. And trust that gut feeling, even if you can't put a logical reason to it. Okay. And the more you do that, the finer tune that gets. And then you'll know, it's like, oh yes, definitely, I'm on board for that. No problem. You don't have to pause. But there'll be times when you kind of feel kind of like that little, it's almost like a catch in, like you might even feel yourself pausing without even realize you're pausing before you respond to something. That's your gut telling you, think about it. Doesn't mean it would be to say yes to whatever's being offered. But what it does is say, think about it. Take a pause, see how you really feel about it, and does it feel right, and for what you want out of life in the moment. So that's a really key piece. Very simple, but do take notice of where you catch yourself unconsciously, and you pause before you respond to something, and then that definitely is a cue for me to say, let me get back to you on that. Another thing that really helps to refine your intuition is, change up your routine. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we just kind of go by rote, and we don't really pay attention to things that may need to be paid attention to. So if you do the same thing every day, like say I could, let me see, I'm trying to think of something that someone would do every single day that you might want to do differently. Let's say we all tend to brush our teeth in the morning. Rather than brushing your teeth with your dominant hand, maybe practice brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. If you're used to sitting at the kitchen table to have your coffee, if it's a nice day out, why not go out on the deck and listen to the birds? Change up your routine. I know we tend to be creatures of habit a lot of times, but when you change up your environment or the way you do something, it changes the way your brain interprets information, or you might actually notice information differently, or you might notice new information you never noticed before. So change up things a little bit. Step outside your comfort zone. I know everybody's got their favorite chair to have their coffee in, or their favorite spot, or the favorite place to get their breakfast sandwich, whatever that might be. Do something different, and step outside of your norm. Another thing too is music. If you're used to hearing the same, like I know I have like my favorite songs that I have on my iPhone. I listen to them all the time, So, but I often will feel like, oh, I got to change this up, and I'll listen to something completely different, something that I normally wouldn't even listen to. And oftentimes it'll be world music. It will be something from a different country with a different language being spoken, or a different type of music. I will listen to that, and that will shake up the synapses a bit. And opens up that the sense of it. There's something about it. It tunes up a different part of my brain, and I know it helps with my intuition and my psychic abilities. And now that we're getting more and more out in public and doing things in groups, go to a concert that you have never gone to before. I know before COVID, we have a great organization in the Boston area that was bringing in music groups from all across the world into Boston. And so I made a choice to go to see a band I've never seen before, and to listen to music live that I had never actually listened to live before. And it was a fantastic experience. And I'm definitely going to do it again when they start doing this again. But it was just great to be not only with people and listening to music you're not normally hearing, but there's something about listening to live music and live voices and instruments, and being in the same room that these instruments are being played. It really sparks up your energy and tunes up your frequency, and it brings your energetic body to life. And so anything that you can do, so if you can't go see a concert, at least play some music that you're not used to hearing every day. It could be classical music, it could be world music, it could be anything that's outside of the norm. So that's a great way to charge up your psychic frequencies. Also, another thing, I found this to be extremely helpful, especially for mediums or developing mediums, student mediums, is recognize how you express what you're experiencing energetically. I always can spot a new student when they say, I don't know why I'm thinking this. I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, I'm thinking, when they're giving information, when they're making a connection or working through a psychic exercise or something like that. And so I could spot them right away because they haven't learned the language of their intuition. And so, and the way it's not just we express it, it's when we actually express things a different way, it brings forth different information. intuitively. Okay, so it welcomes in that information. So learn to speak as you feel. So rather than saying, I think this, or I think we should do this, or I think I should do that, say, I feel that this would be the best way to go. Or I'm seeing that this is the best way to go. Or I'm feeling that maybe this isn't the right time to move forward with that project. I'm hearing, seeing, I'm feeling. My gut tells me. Change the way you express how you feel, and that will charge up your intuitive synapses. There's just something about it, and all of a sudden it starts to open up the way that you experience the world in a different way. It's great, and it's such a small change, but it's a game changer for a lot of people who just want to trust their intuition more. The other thing too is being fully present. And I know that's a very obvious thing, but it's not all that easy to do. But it doesn't have to be being fully present 24/7. It's just in moments, okay? So I often find that I get a lot of my intuitive hits when I'm washing dishes, because first of all, it's a repetitive motion of washing dishes and drying dishes. So it kind of puts our more logical brain, it engages our logical brain so that our intuitive mind can rise to the surface. And so anything repetitive, anything being fully present, sitting in a park, or you're on your back porch, listening to the birds, listening to the traffic far away down the street, listening to the motorcycles, a mile down the road, whatever it is. It doesn't always have to be nature, but just paying attention to things that we tend to tune out normally. And just say, oh, wow, here, I'm really hearing that. And then say someone's playing music next door, start listening to that music. If you hear a bird, try to hear the bird that's closest to you, and try to listen to the bird that's the furthest away from you. And you'll be amazed what you might experience, and you'll start to hear things that you never heard before. And then when you do that with your physical ears, then it only follows that your intuitive hearing, your psychic hearing, your clairaudience will follow that, because we start to pay more attention, we're more present. So being present as well. If you go out into nature, obviously that's a big thing. You can't help not to be present when you're in nature, especially if you're hiking, you're in unlevel territory. Maybe walking over tree stumps or rocks. You have to be fully present. You have to be right there and watching what you're doing, and just be mindful of what you see around you. And that being fully present will open up your sense of it. It kind of quiets your mind also to see what little bits of information kind of pops up. So all of these things, I would try to do a little bit of at least one of these things every day, even just for 5 minutes. And I guarantee it'll start to shift your life. You may even find, that you'll actually start to enjoy maybe even meditating at some point. And meditation is 100% key. And I know some people get, oh no, I can't meditate. I can't sit still. Oh my goodness, I just can't do that. But there's so many different types of meditation, and ways to stay fully present. If you like a moving meditation, I know that I get a lot of my hits at the elliptical at the gym, because I'm just fully it's a repetitive thing. So that can be a moving meditation. Just sitting quietly, if you can work up to that, but even if you can do 5 minutes, it can make a big difference. But anything that pardon me, I'm on focus for the moment. So meditation YouTube has so many great meditations that you can try out to see, do you like guided meditations, or do you like just music meditations? Do you like nature sounds? Do you like whatever it is? There's so much available There's no excuse to not try it and try different types of meditations. And it's a game changer. And it literally changed my life. Literally changed my life when I started meditating. So and I don't know anybody who has had negative experiences by meditating. That's one of the few things that in this world that has no negative meditation and negative things that consequences when you're meditating if you're in a safe place and doing, obviously not when you're driving, but that's one of the few things that actually can help you. And it doesn't take very much time at all. Literally can take 3 minutes. If you have 3 minutes to scroll on your phone to check your email, you have 3 minutes to sit quietly. So no excuses. And you might actually find that you enjoy it. So there's my tips for living a more intuitive life. And like I said, you don't have to do all of these. Just pick one and just go with what feels comfortable for you. And I will be offering more online classes at some point where we can practice a lot of this and put this into practice. So anyways, I am taking calls today and for readings and our questions, and that's 816-251-3555. Again, it's 816-251-3555. And for reading, I have cards here. It can be for a mediumship reading, which is the connections to people on the other side. Or if you just have a question, like, you're struggling with something, you're struggling with maybe your spiritual waking up, and that's how you found Unity Radio. Is there something that you're challenged by that you would like some insight on? I will do what I can to help you with that. So give me a call, and I'll be back in just a few moments. 816-251-3555 on The Intuitive Life.
Experience the difference. Unity Online Radio. The voice of an awakening world. Welcome back to The Intuitive Life with Laura Wooster.
Hi, welcome back to The Intuitive Life, and we are taking your calls today, 816-251-3555. And my name is Laura Wooster, if you're just tuning in late. So we got a few callers here, and I'm actually going to bring a special guest on in just a few moments, so stick around so I'll recognize her. But I'm going to go to a call. I'm going to go to San Diego and speak with Julie. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Laura, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good to talk to you.
You too. How can I help you today?
Well, I've been on a spiritual path, and I just wanted to see if you had any insight, anything from my guides or any family that wants to come to me.
Okay, wonderful, great. So, it's interesting that you said you're on the spiritual journey, because when I speak to people, I can see their auras. Okay, so even if you're not sitting in front of me, and so what I'm seeing around you, you've got definitely a lot of healing energy around you. So I know you must be in some kind of field where you're doing something where you're helping other people. There's no doubt. So that's really strong around you. Mm-hmm. And also, your intuitive energy is very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if you said you do intuitive work or you're a medium or something, because there's a lot of that around you, or you feel very connected to you. So you understand that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I feel like I want to talk to you about where you are right now with your path. Okay, I know you said you might want to talk to your someone on the other side, but we want to talk about you. Okay, now the one thing I'm picking up around you is that you're kind of It's interesting. It's the sense of having your foot on the brake and your foot on the gas at the same time. So, um, it's like knowing where you want to go, knowing where you need to go with your work or the things that you do every day. But there's a part of you that's like looking for either permission or for some signal that says go. And but the thing is, you've got everything you need right now to move forward with what you want to do. So, and I'm also seeing writing around you. So I'm seeing words floating up around you. So what that means to me, that I don't know if you're literally trying to work with writing more, or working with communicating through words more, or something. I'm not talking about the spoken word. I'm talking about actually writing. There's something around that as well. So are you currently doing any kind of journaling, and then thinking about maybe making it more public at some point? And that's what it feels like.
Not making public, but just doing more journaling for me personally.
Good. Mm-hmm. And so I think I feel like that's going to somehow evolve to something more public. It's not to say that you're going to make your journals public, but there's something that's going to emerge from that process that's going to have you to bring your communications more public. Okay. And so I think it's a great process that you're doing. It's just part of this. It's not a rush to get to the public side of it. It's more of it's the first step here. Okay. So are you currently doing healing work?
I am not, but I want to. And the foot on the gas and the foot on the pedal makes sense, because I move forward and then things seem to go at a standstill, and then I move forward and then stand still.
Yeah.
So yeah. That resonates with me.
Okay, and that doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong either when that happens. It seems to, for a lot of people, that's a natural thing. It's a natural process of stopping and starting. And sometimes it feels like we're treading water, and people go, "What am I doing wrong? I feel like I'm not moving forward." It's more like a resting point. It's a take stock of what's going on, if the direction you're going is correct for you. So that stop and start kind of thing isn't necessarily a bad thing. At some point, you feel like there's movement, right?
Right.
So, do you mind me asking, what do you currently do for work?
I'm in sales. So
you are
not in the healing realm right now, but that's where I want to go.
Yeah. So you're studying or doing something, or there's that.
Yes, I am studying.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think so. Right now, I'm seeing a balance between work and the spiritual side of things for you, and the healing aspects of where you're going. So it feels very comfortable, actually, going exactly the way you're going, and just letting the way you want to go with more of the spiritual thing, just gradually emerge over time. So you're right where you need to be. And I know sometimes I'm really like, okay, I really want to get past this to get to that.
Yes. But I know timing is everything, and it's all going to happen 100%. When it's supposed to, right?
100%. And there's still my sense is this too, is that, and I'm just for the lack of, there's nothing wrong with having the job that you have. So I don't want it, when I say this, I'm meaning it kind of jokingly. I call it the muggle world, the corporate world.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with remaining in the corporate world, because there's a lot to learn from that, and you can integrate it into your healing work as time goes on, because I guarantee you'll be like, I'm glad I stayed in this position or just job for a while, because there's aspects of it that you will integrate into your healing work, believe it or not.
But you do see moving forward that is the path that I will be on.
I think you're going to start integrating it more into your life. And whether it's going to be the path for you or the job for you, I see more equal right now, like you having one foot in both worlds. Doesn't mean that you're not going to let go of the corporate side of things. But right now it feels like where you need to be is exactly where you are, balanced between the two worlds.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
No rush. Okay.
Thank you so much. I really enjoy your show.
Oh, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling, and
Absolutely.
have a wonderful
Absolutely.
summer.
You as well, Laura. Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye. So I know I've got a few callers on the line here that wants to come on, but I'm going to bring on a colleague of mine, and she's going to take the calls with me. All right, so stay tight there, people. We got people from Virginia calling in. We got people from the Boston area calling in. So hold tight. I'm going to be with you in just a moment. Hey, Lori.
Hello, how are you?
Good, everybody. This is my friend and colleague, Lori Sheridan. She's a Reverend Lori Sheridan. She's a medium, an intuitive, and she's one of the people I spoke about at the beginning of the hour about the between where two worlds meet event that we're doing in July, the mediumship event. And so this is the first time she's ever been on, so I wanted to bring her on. So, hello, Lori.
So excited to be here.
Yeah, this is exciting. So we're gonna go to the calls in just a minute, but I just wanted to ask you, like, if you, because the first part of the hour I talked about how to live life more intuitively, right? And we've all gone through that process, especially developing as a medium. What's the one thing that you could recommend to people if they're feeling like they want to be more connected intuitively? What's the one thing you can recommend?
The biggest thing is to be more mindful, or, I know it sounds silly, but it's to be more mindful and to trust what you get. I really, really believe that, whether it's our body talking to us, listening to the body, listening to those nudges, the gut instinct, maybe the whispers of the soul, but just to really begin to listen and try to be more mindful throughout your day. And when you have those moments, those little nudges, those little synchronicities, maybe trying not to just brush them off, but to think, wow, maybe that's a sign, maybe that is my soul talking to me. And when you get the opportunities to leap and to go forward to what makes your soul happy, to trust in those leaps if they feel right,
That's a really good point. The trust thing is big. It's learning and it's a process. Yeah, and there's times we don't trust it, and we kick ourselves for not trusting what we received intuitively, and but that's where you learn, right?
Yeah. Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And I love how you said, making your soul happy too, and that's not meaning that everything that we do in life that we just have to go towards happiness all the time. Obviously that's not possible, but
right.
But when your soul is happy, and when your soul is happy, that's your intuition talking to you and saying, "That's right, that's correct. This is good for you. This is good for everybody. This is good for this is a good move." So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I love that too, because just the idea, like if we have a dream or we have an aspiration or something that has spoken to us from that soul, feeling that calling or that passion. Small steps every day, following those nudges, those breadcrumbs, those open doors that lead us to expressing that gift, that joy, that passion, whatever it may be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it's so funny too, and I'm sure you've had this similar situation where when you were on this journey and you kind of felt soul led to go this direction, right? Even though you didn't really know where it was going, probably early on.
Right. Right.
But the things that we intuitively followed to get here that didn't seem to be logically, this is where we're going to end up. Right. And it's like, wow, I can't believe I trusted that and I did that and it ended up here, And so that's why intuition is so important in trusting it, because oftentimes it's not logical. It's actually illogical most of the time, but, we could probably, yeah. So yep. So what I wanted to do, Lori,
makes a lot of sense.
It really does. Yeah, and that's where synchronicity starts to come into play too. So Lori, since you're on the phone, I'm going to go to the callers and we're going to have a chat with them. Are you okay with that?
Fun. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, this will be good. This will be fun. We always love working together, Lori and I. So, all right. So let's go to Midge in Virginia. Hey, Midge.
Hello.
Hi, Midge.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Midge. Good. Hi, Lori. How are you?
Oh.
It's kind of
Lori's
breaking up a
breaking up a
little
bit.
here.
Yeah, Lori's breaking up a little bit. Lori, I think, we may have to have you call back. Lori, can you call back? I'll get started
Yeah, I'll
talking to
call
Midge.
back right now.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
bye-bye.
Awesome. Bye. All right, Midge. So, what can I do for you today, Midge, while we're waiting for Lori to call back in?
I'm contemplating whether I should move or not.
Okay.
I've only been in this condo for 6 months, and it's not agreeing with my body. I am having dreams of my late husband, and once we were in a car together, and then the next dream, the next night, we couldn't find our car. We were together, we couldn't find our car.
Oh wow.
There is no wording. My sister, who's in spirit, appeared to me, and then her face turned into my mother.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know why, because I wasn't thinking of either one of them. My mother's been gone like 35 years, and my sister probably 5. I'm having a very hard time in this condo. I'm allergic to it.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
My good question, and just today I found out why I'm allergic to it. But Laura, I'm wondering, will I be selling?
Oh no. Oh, I think I lost her. I'm so sorry. I think I hung up on Midge. Midge, can you call back if you're listening, please? I just hung up on her. Yeah, Jeff warned me about that. I didn't listen to you. So, yeah, Midge, I already have some answers for you, so call back if you can. Laura, you there?
I'm here. I'm hopefully
Hi.
not breaking up too much. Sorry about that.
Oh, you sound much better. You sound much better. Thank you. And by taking you want to kick Midge off. I'm so sorry, Midge.
Oh, no.
I'm still learning the board. I hope she comes back. I hope so too, because she had some fascinating things to talk about dream visits and everything. So this will be really
nice.
great. Yeah. So well, hopefully she'll call back in a moment. But anyway, so Lori, while we're waiting for Midge to call back, hopefully she's realizing she's not on the air anymore. So what was the one thing, like, I mean, I know we talked about trust and we talked about trusting and then recognize what makes your soul happy, right? So that's part of your intuition. So what was the one thing that you felt like it was a game changer for you when you started doing this work?
The biggest thing was just really starting to surrender,
Yes.
And working on that concept of trust, beginning to trust what I was getting, trust myself, and then surrendering to the journey, surrendering to the process, trusting, maybe, even though I don't always know where I'm going, that there is a bigger plan or a divine plan, and that I am supported, and I just have to keep following my heart,
Yeah. That's a really key piece, is surrender. Absolutely, 100%. And it's not something that can be easily done. And there's different levels of surrender too. So
Right. Still working on it.
Yeah. And I found like some of the biggest shifts that I've had in my life was when I just felt like I didn't know what direction to go in, and nothing seemed to really fit anymore or whatever. And I just almost literally throw my hands up in the air and say, okay, Spirit, I surrender. Just show me the way, just show me the way. And sure enough, it does happen. And it's amazing what surrender will do.
I love that. That's beautiful.
How would you define surrender though, for people we all kind of know what surrender means, but for you, how do you define that?
Well, it might sound a little bit cheesy, but it is that Carrie Underwood song, Jesus, take the wheel.
Exactly.
But it's letting go of that I don't know everything and trusting that I am provided for, trusting no matter what your belief is, whether it's God or source, that there is a guiding hand supporting us throughout this journey, and trying to let go and, accept things that we can't always control, but we choose how we respond. And then again, taking those opportunities to explore and to find our passion for expression, even in the simplest ways, helping others and giving back is making a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, little baby steps here and there, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And just focusing on the moments as well. Moments. There's a lot of power in moments, I found, and that's where a lot of surrender can happen too.
Yeah.
And I did a homily last night that kind of alluded to that, and not about trusting in the dance of life, and trusting in the moments and the choices we make in every moment, and that in essence that's kind of like surrender. It's surrendering to what is in the moment and trusting how things are playing out, whether you want it to go that direction or not. And a lot of power in accepting where a moment is, either at the same time. And
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and I'm so sorry, Midge. I kicked her off.
I know.
I am
really
so sorry. So Midge, not to get off the subject here, but I did want to respond to her. She kind of laid out her question, and then I kicked her off. So Midge, when she had asked about her condo, she wanted to move because she didn't feel it's a healthy place for her physically. And 100%, I'm seeing that she needs to kind of get a team together to get this going, to get this process started. And I see a team coming together for her. So whether it means, having someone to help her find her next place, having family and friends help to find another place for her, and also having a realtor sell her place for her, and to figure out what needs to happen in order to safely transfer this property to somebody else. It's what I'm seeing is pulling a team together, and I feel like it's and I hope she's listening. I feel like it's like right here on your doorstep kind of energy. So what that means is start today to start to pull that team together for you, to find your new place, to sell your current place, and also to find the friends and family to help you find that place and to help you move. And also, if you pick up anything, Lori, around Midge's name as well, jump right on in. And also, she had mentioned having dreams about her husband. She was in a car with her husband. Another one, she had a dream about her sister who became her mother's face and everything. It sounded like one of the dreams that she mentioned right off the bat felt like a dream visit. It felt like her husband was actually coming in to in her dreams. And dream visits are typically like very short, very vivid, and oftentimes they don't even say anything, or they might say one thing or one phrase, but they always look healthy, and there's really no conflict there at all. It's actually very comforting, and it's very quick, and it's one of those dreams that stick with you. And but the other dreams I think you started to talk about, Midge, it sounded more like stuff being sorted out. So when somebody's face becomes another face, that to me is your mind kind of sorting things out. So do you have any insight on dreams, Lori, that you can share as well?
No, I thought what you said was perfect. The comfort piece, and just really feeling, or waking up feeling like you just had a visit, that can be really powerful. And I'm just so thrilled that she had those experiences. I think that's wonderful. Yes. A lot of times, whether it's bringing comfort or times of reassurance, especially if we have been stressed, potential transition changes, I find that the spirit world will often come close to try to give just validations of their presence, or as you're navigating these changes, that they're helping and supporting you through times of transition. Yeah. So I thought that was really nice, especially when she's looking for a new home. Yeah. Yep, exactly. That's a perfect timing, especially they do tend to come in through transitions,
And moving, changing houses is a huge transition for people. So oftentimes loved ones will come in and have a visit with us to say everything's going to be okay. But yeah, she didn't call back, so hopefully she's listening.
Oh, that is exciting. But it did feel like there was a new place for her. So I just was getting the same thing. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a couple of months, but it was soon, So
it does feel soon.
If that's what she feels, put the team together and begin the process that she was close.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, absolutely. Obviously, and physical health actually, it that comes first, no matter what. So if it's not a healthy place for her to be, she definitely needs to move. But I do feel the energy to help her find that new space is very, it's all around her. So it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, It's really good. Anyway, so the other thing, and I wanted to pull cards for other people as well. People are listening, because I know some people weren't able to get able to call in. So I want to pull. Do you have any cards in front of you, Lori?
I do.
Ooh, imagine that. Fabulous. Okay.
I know.
Yeah. So, for the last couple of minutes of the show here, I just pulled some cards for everybody. Wonderful. So we've got the Passion Ignited card, the Destiny cards, and the Truth card. So what this means to me, that for me, that these feel like a time for reflection. I know that seems pretty obvious, considering that we're all coming out of the state we've been in for like over a year, but it's finding out what's true for you, what you need to go forward with life, what's going to bring you happiness and peace. Okay, so that might be the focus over the next week for people, is focusing on where you need to go, what you need to let go of, and what is it? How do you want to spend the next year? Post-COVID, and then also coming to decisions, not maybe right at this very moment. There's a lot of decisions to be made around people, and it's funny that Midge brought up moving. So there might be decisions about going back to school, changing a job, changing where you live, changing relationships. There's a lot of this happening right now for people. So if everybody's kind of feeling that nudge to look into those types of changes, I'm not surprised. So what do you have, Laura? You got about a minute and a half.
Okay, well, this is Angel Tarot, Radley Valentine, but wonderful opportunities presenting for either study, new classes, new jobs, new work, expansion, growth, good news coming potentially.
Yeah.
Around that, they shall make a wish, one of the best cards in the deck. So it is kind of giving yourself permission to dream. There may be some challenges, but you get the Ace of Swords, which is that you have the tools to navigate and to refine your plans. So as we're moving forward, hopefully you've taken some opportunities to learn, to grow. There may be some new steps, new opportunities presenting. And then we have the Wise Counselor card, but that to me is really trusting yourself, listening to your soul, like Laura's been talking about this entire hour, but also listening to people that you respect, around you, friends, colleagues, giving validations of the decisions and the opportunities that may be presenting. And then finally, we have a beautiful Knight card of Wands, but it's moving closer to your dreams, moving forward.
Beautiful.
This is attract within the next month, really, that there's opportunities for advancement.
Awesome. Great cards. Fantastic. So if anybody would like to learn more about Lori, you can go to LoriSheridanMedium.com and my website, LauraWooster.com, and I'll be back next week. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening. This is Unity Online Radio, the voice of an awakening world.
Sometimes you feel so alone and overwhelmed you don't know where to turn. These days, it seems like there is no end to our problems. We invite you to connect with Silent Unity, the 24-hour prayer ministry where someone is waiting to pray with you right now. Since 1890, Silent Unity has always been there. No judgment or dogma, just someone affirming the best for you. Call 816-969-2000 today. You can also connect online at unityprayervigil.org.